First, we have nerves. We've all been nervous before. That jittery, butterflies in the stomach feeling either before or during a performance. This can cause your body to tense up, making your hands and feet feel tight, which can heavily affect the ideas you play and the timing and sound of those ideas. So, why does this happen? Well, your fight or flight response can kick in when you feel like you're in danger or something is at stake, which in this case is usually thoughts like, I hope the performance goes well, or I hope I don't make any mistakes, there are so many people watching. It can also be due to unfamiliar situations, new venues, someone else's drum kit, or new band members that you haven't played with much. Or if it's a jam session, maybe this is the first time you've met them. Another reason can be a lack of trust in yourself or a lack of preparation. The good news is that's an easy one to fix. First of all, a great way to deal with nerves is to anchor yourself with the breath. I've been practicing a bit of meditation over the last few years, and one of the exercises they get you to do is to just focus on the breath, the sensation of the breath, whether that's the stomach rising and falling or the air going in and out of your nose. There's no one way to do this, but just take a few deep breaths. It's amazing how relaxed you feel straight away, so that's tip number one. The second is reframing your mindset. When you feel like there's so much at stake, just remember at the end of the day, it's only music. As performers, we aim to create an experience that captivates, resonates, and evokes emotion in our listeners, offering not just entertainment, but a deep connection. Remember, you are in control, so focus less on what the audience will think and more on what you can control, and everyone's going to have a better time. I used to get incredibly nervous before doing drum solos on gigs, but once I started thinking of each one as just another chance to explore, things really started opening up. So, when you're in new and unfamiliar situations, rather than turning to fear, try to see them as exciting new adventures, opportunities to learn, and new experiences. Often the audience will enjoy sharing that exciting spontaneity with you and the band. So focus on tuning into the music and what's happening around you, and that helps you get out of your head and into the music. The last point here is preparation. If you haven't practiced the songs or prepared thoroughly for the gig, some of these tips will still help, but you'll be at your most confident and calm when you have done your homework. So I would highly recommend checking out the songs, doing your notes, learning the repertoire, and you'll be way less nervous going into the performance. Once you've done that, there's an element of just letting go and just trusting yourself, saying, I've done all I can to prepare, now let's just strap in and enjoy the ride. And sure, there might be some mistakes here or there, but as long as the overall vibe is great and the audience is having a good time, that's all we can really ask for. The next mindset block is trying to impress people. We're all guilty of this. When I was studying jazz at university, I used to have this happen all the time. Whether it's a guest artist, your music teacher, a friend in the audience, or even another bandmate, when you play with the goal of being impressive rather than expressing something real, everything just seems to freeze up. So, why does this happen? Well, first of all, music is really important to us. We all love listening, watching, and playing music, which is why we're all here in the first place. And within that, we all have a unique taste. The music we listen to, the music we like or don't like. So we have this voice or identity in music. Especially when we're starting out, we want validation that our unique sum of ideas and musical makeup is good or worth something. This is totally normal. Humans like to stick together. It's in our nature. Especially when there are guest artists, other drummers, or musicians we respect, we innately want them to think we sound good, so we know that all the hours we're putting in and our musical taste is worth something. But this is a really paradoxical trap. When we play to impress others, we play ideas or phrases that aren't related to the musical situation we're in, often the fastest or loudest ideas that we can play to try and prove something. But the interesting thing is by doing that, the people listening are more likely not to resonate with that unmusical or flashy idea. So by trying to show off, we actually make the I hope they don't dislike my playing thing more likely to come true. And again, paradoxically, when we stay focused on the music and play whatever we, and the key word here is we, feel appropriate for that musical moment, without thinking about what the listener will think, often that will, funnily enough, impress them more than trying to impress them. But the irony is, we're not fazed by what they think anyway, so it's this kind of crazy loop. But I feel that the key takeaway is just play what you think and feel in the moment, and that will always come across as authentic. So some ways to deal with this are, if you have a thought like, oh wow, so-and-so just walked in the room, ask yourself, what does this moment need musically, instead of what will sound cool? Remember, our job is not to impress, but to facilitate the music and help express and support whatever's going on in that musical situation. Another tip is to bring yourself back to listening. Focus in on the bass player or what the guitarist is playing and interact with that. This topic is a tricky one because we don't want to completely not care what anyone thinks, although sometimes dialing a teeny bit of that in can help. But music is a conversation. It's great to get people's opinions and feedback. It's a constant journey that we're all on together. Just don't let those opinions influence or change your playing to the point where you freeze up or start playing things completely unrelated to the music. The last one is overthinking. When you have that constant chatter, second guessing, overanalyzing something that just happened, or trying to plan when you're in the middle of playing. All of these can hijack your mind and completely pull you out of the present moment. This usually occurs if you're unsure about what's supposed to happen next, you're stuck in your head trying to control what happens, or you haven't practiced letting go. This is very common in improvised styles of music or in open sections of songs because there usually isn't a set way a song should go. At first, this can be super overwhelming, like swimming into deep water and not knowing what's going to happen. The good news is that this definitely gets easier with experience over time. First, let's talk about that. You can see it as scary and unknown, but you can also embrace it and instead see it as exciting and freeing, a chance to explore new ideas, new sounds, and musical realms. So part of it is letting go and just accepting that what will be, which is tricky but does get easier. Then you've got the overthinking thoughts, things like, that idea was boring, terrible, or lame, or play something good, or try to impress that person. And now you're overthinking and trying to impress someone like, Some ways to deal with this are one, take a deep breath, that always helps. And then two, rather than judging your fills or solo as good or bad, think of your ideas more like, that was a sparse idea, or that one was bold. Try to get out of that judgmental mindset and tap into a more exploratory mindset. Once you do that and think, that was a calming fill, or something like that, then you can build a calm solo. And the focus isn't now, don't play bad, which is, super unhelpful, but rather something like, let's explore a calm drum solo. And to me, that's super interesting and way more fun to explore. Another trick is to limit your options. All those thoughts can clog up your mind and make things feel cramped. So try things like just play the snare drum for a while and see where that goes. And this can really help to free up your thinking. An exercise for letting go is doing this in the practice room. Set a timer and say, I'm going to play whatever comes out for 2 to 3 minutes without judgment and just explore some ideas. That can really help you integrate this mindset into your live performances. One more tip is to reframe mistakes as ideas. I'm often surprised when I listen back to gigs, there might have been a feel or something that I went for that I messed up in the moment, or I feel like I messed it up in the moment. And I remember thinking, almost. But then when I listen back, it sounds super intentional. And it's this weird mismatch where I'm like, but I messed that up. How did that not sound bad? But only you know that. And the audience usually has no idea what you're going for unless you show it on your face. And if you play it again, now we're talking. People often refer to Miles Davis famously saying, it's not the note you play that's wrong, it's the notes you play after it that make it right or wrong. And I just love this idea. It just really flips the whole, this is the way you should play thing on its head and opens up this new exciting area to be creative. So I'd recommend recording a performance. And if you remember a moment during the set where you were overthinking or thought something sucked, have a listen back. Sometimes you'll be surprised that it didn't sound as bad as you thought. And sure, sometimes you'll listen back and think, I'm actually not really happy with how that groove is feeling or sounding. But then that just gives you a perfect reason to work on that particular thing next time you're in the practice room. So that's just some of my thoughts on mindset, and I'm still working on all of these myself. But give some of the exercises, breathing, and mindset shifts a go, and let me know what techniques you use to overcome nerves, the need to impress, or overthinking on gigs. If you want some more ways to unlock freedom and flow on the drums that will go hand in hand with some of the stuff we talked about today, then check out this video here on how to do that.